Hey, what's up? I don't do these kinds of recordings. It was just something that Eric kind of recommended to me, but I figured why not give it the good whirl. So today we're working on the MRS. I've got the car here in the box. It's a little cold. I forgot what time it is. It's probably only like 9:30 in the morning or so. But today we're kind of looking at getting the new rear bumper mounted on the car. I shouldn't say new. It's one we got when we purchased the car, but it's gonna be new for the car. The old one came off while we were racing. I got off track really quick there. I'm pretty sure my rear bumper is falling off. But you can see this bumper was cut off, right? They kind of chopped it right by that rear gap line on it. So this new bumper that we got is it's not chopped yet. So the issue we're running into currently is the diffuser, right? With this diffuser, you can see it's mounted up on this rear bash bar that they installed, previous owner. So we gotta figure out how we can get that bumper to clear this whole thing. So that's kind of the mystery today. To get started, we're gonna get the wheels off the rear. I got new fender liners. That's pretty exciting. We'll look at getting those installed because obviously these rear fender liners were also chopped, which is actually why the other rear bumper broke because the fender liner caused that to get all into the rear wheel. So that wasn't good. So first step, we're gonna jack the car up and get those fender liners looked at. All right, take a look at this. Like, yeah, I was getting worried about it hitting the door, but let me show you why. I mean, that is not a lot of space. But you know what, we live life on the edge out here, so I'm not too worried about it. So, all right, let's get wheels off. All right, got the wheel off the driver's side here. So we're just gonna look at taking the fender liner off, really. This isn't really meant to be a tutorial video, but really all I gotta do, you see these little pops here. So there's a couple of them kind of scattered around the old wheel well, as well as this guy up here. You can see that little square. But pretty easy for the rear fender liners. There's nothing in particular really holding them on, especially how the previous owner left them, because half of them are missing. I'll just start popping them off, really. Well, we got it out. It kind of fell out there. Now we got a new one. So this was the driver's side. So we got, is it this one? Yeah, this one's all nice and shiny. That one's pretty dirty. And this one has the rest of its rear end on it still. So yeah, let's get this popped on. Let me get under there. You know what it is? I'm kind of seeing this now. Here, let me grab you. Get over here, soldier. You can see that there's a sizable dent in the car here. I wonder if these fender liners weren't supposed to fit a little better. I can grab this one. You can see back there. And then I may just have to either force the plastic up or something. On the old design, it was just jammed in there. So I'm thinking this is why they did that. I wonder if they didn't jack it up here or something. Kind of a silly mistake if you ask me. But otherwise, it's lining up pretty good. That's a bit disappointing, but I can get that back one, I think. That back clip, so we'll do that. You know, you buy these many, you think, I'll never need 100. And you use 20 in like 10 seconds. And just like that, it's about as installed as you can get without a rear bumper on and with a dent in your rocker panel. With that being kind of finished up there, we got that all put together. I know it's hard to see, it's all dark in here. We're gonna do the same on the other wheel. I'll get that done and then we'll be looking at mounting up the rear bumper and figuring out exactly how we're gonna get that diffuser to fit. So, we'll see you later. All right, this is me recording kind of just, really freaking bright there. Me recording just for some history for myself so I can blame myself if something bad happens. Down here on the passenger side, we've got a little predicament. So it looks like the previous owner, just a little far out for you so we know where we are. The previous owner had some wires running here, potentially for oil temp gauge or something, I don't know. Or this is factory, and I don't know. It just seems a little out of place. I noticed it was kind of tucked into the fender liner. Now I'm gonna go to the other fender liner real quick. So this is the wheel well. The fender liner is gonna kind of fit in there like this, right? So you can see maybe there's a little notch here. That's maybe where that wire lives, kind of gets tucked into that. What I'm gonna do, because I'm paranoid, I'm gonna try to do a little zip tie between these two. I'm gonna try to bring these two kind of together. Now, not super tight, but this line is, what is this line? Oh, it's the deck release lid. So it's just a cable. Yeah, it's a deck release cable. So I'm just gonna kind of zip tie this wire up here, just so that it's not slouched out down here. You can kind of see, it's just kind of hanging out. But if you notice a zip tie there, future Calvin, I'm sorry if it caused problems, but we're just being paranoid right now. So we're gonna quick do that. So you see how I just kind of gave him a little knot there? There's still some slack in it, kind of both ways. I can still kind of, oh golly, filming is hard. I can still wiggle it, right? When you're doing wires, you just want to make sure you can wiggle it. That way it's not like super taut. Just a little something. It might be worthless, but it might, you know, maybe one day wires were gonna come falling out while I was driving. That was gonna be terrible. So anyway, I'm just gonna clip that off and I'll get the fender liner installed. Welcome to the mini vlog 2, where I show you some stupid stuff. Turns out those wires that we just tucked up ever so nicely are pretty much not stock. And there's no way they can be stock because, as you can see here, we're underneath the fender liner here. To give you a reference, here's the rotor moving towards the front of the car. We got these under panel stuff, and you know, on the other side, right? We couldn't get them to fit all the way because it was dented in. Similar kind of issue, not too bad though. But also, you see this little braided plastic sheathing? Look where knuckleheads decided to put it. Right through where we gotta put on our fender little plastic clip. Do I look amused? To me, that's a stupid mistake. But I'll be honest, I don't have a good solution for that right now. I'm gonna have to leave the fender liner kind of loose. I think I can get one pin on like, you see that bottom hole there? Might be able to get something in there, but I'll be honest, we should really reroute those wires. We might just leave it hanging for now, which isn't the end of the world. The car can't really be driven right now. I mean, it's winter. I just wanted to highlight that, you know what? Those wires were made by a stupid mistake by someone. I don't know if that's like a desperate solution for something, but you can do better. There's always a better solution. Anyway, just wanted to highlight that. We'll get this on and then we'll get going. All right, fellas, so we got the fender liners on. Look at that, looking great. So now we're gonna work on taking the diffuser off real quick and then I'll explain what we're gonna do today. So the way this diffuser works, you've got these quick release mounts and then on each side you've got 10 mil screw. I'm gonna take it off real quick. I got a creeper or a skeleton board. Oh my God, just being able to cruise around like this, dude, it's not even funny. I mean, do you even understand how much fun this is? And then you just roll out. You just roll out, baby. All right, so to recap. So you see these little nub things? This is what the quick release snaps on and off of, right? The bumper actually hits these. We're gonna try to like cut holes in the bumper that just let these nubs kind of go through, so that we can kind of mount the bumper up without having to lop off the whole bottom end like the other owner had to. We'll see if we can do that, but let's get a test fit going real quick. So I'm gonna take these off. They're just like two 19 mils holding this on. and a screw. I'm gonna take those off real quick and then we'll slide the bumper on so you can see what I'm talking about. So as you can see, this is kind of how the new bumper fits up. I put a couple fasteners up on top here, just so that we had something holding it so it doesn't fall off on me. So let's get under the car and see what we're looking at here. Here's the front, right? So we're going under, and we end up here. I got the light in my mouth now. So you would take this and put it through the hole, and it would hit the bumper. So we're gonna cut a hole in the bumper, the diameter of this hole, so that it can fit through, and the diffuser can line up with it. That's the idea, at least. The diffuser also has some of those grommets on the end. I'm hoping that they can kind of push up on the bumper. Here's the logic, right? Why make a giant hole when you can make a small one? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take like a marker or something, kind of slot it through the hole, and see if that works. So I'll come back to you guys with that. What we've done is exactly what I described. We took an ink saw, or like a pen, right? You can see there's little black smudgies, kinda. You see that little mark? Man, the light does not make it easier to see. It is black on black, but we have some general like marks. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take some really small drill bits and we're just gonna get some pilot holes in there. I'll slide the bumper back on, make sure we're in the right general idea, right kind of centered. And then obviously we'll take one of these guys and then we'll figure out that diameter of that big ball peen. Maybe make it a little bigger than that. Looks like we should be able to kinda make a hole and not completely blow up the bottom of this bumper, which would be super ideal. We'll have to see if it actually works. I know I have to do some trimming on the bumper to actually get the sides of the diffuser to go on. We can tackle that bridge when we get there. So I'm gonna drill some holes and then we'll see where we are. So what I did, you can kind of see, got our hole here, and then we've got a mounting bracket, right? So what I do to check that is I just put my flashlight into that mounting bracket and I see how the light shines through. And you can see our hole is pretty straight, maybe a little off to the one side, but pretty much there. But if you look at it from this angle, you see the problem. Our hole is like a little bit too much, you know, inwards, right? Because the peen is gonna come in, or the pin is gonna come in at an angle, which is gonna put it closer towards the outside of the bumper. So we gotta move that on both holes. So we'll just make another pilot hole, because really what we're gonna give ourselves is some options down there. And we can pick which one looks best. Anyway, I'll make those updates off camera, and I'll show you what we end up with. Hey fellas. We got those holes pretty close. They're not perfect, but we got them pretty close. We got little balls sticking out. You can see the holes aren't perfect, but they got them through. I might do a little test fit here, but I don't think it's gonna quite work. I'm thinking we're gonna need either some bigger holes around the balls, really technical stuff going on here. Gotta enlarge your holes. If you look at the diffuser design, on these quick release balls, the previous owner had put these little rubber gasket things with like a zip tie on. I don't know how far the ball has to recess into there, but I'm kind of worried that these big rubber pieces are gonna be sticking up a little too high. We'll see what I end up doing, but I'll do my first test fit. I did a little test fit. There is some area on this bumper that we have to cut. If we zoom out, we come right in here. There's this little lip, but it's pushing into that bottom bump. I'll take this line and just kind of cut that bump. What it'll be is kind of like a sectional cut, just enough to let the diffuser clear. It just needs to come out a little further. So I'll quick put the diffuser up. So you can kind of see over here that we're hitting it. Same thing on the other side. You can see that it's just grazing it. That's what I'll be working on. I'll take the old rotary tool and we'll get to work on that. All right, to give you guys an idea of what we're gonna do, I'm looking at this line here. You see how this kind of dips in and goes up to right about here, and then it has that crease that comes out. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut up from here because we're trying to get this bubble out. So I'm gonna give this center section to be kind of like a flap. We're gonna cut up, and then we're gonna pull down. Do you see this material that they've added around the hole? This hole, they got this material around it. I wanna keep as much of that material there as possible. So we're gonna use this line kind of right next to it, and we're gonna follow that line up and meet it back there, and we're gonna cut that material out, kind of that triangle. So we got the rotary tool. Just gonna kind of use that out. And if you're wondering, I am wearing safety glasses because don't hurt yourself, I swear to God. All right, here we go. I'm glad I have a shot vac. And it's just that easy. If you can tell, I'm no fabricator. But we did exactly what I was describing, right? We're leaving as much material on these bottom halves as possible while making this section sort of its own component. So I'll get this back on the car and we'll see if we've made any improvements. A little update on what we found with the new cut. I don't have the diffuser on right now. To be in short, we have still some stuff to cut. We did a pretty good job, but really what we'd be looking at doing now is kind of widening it. There might be a way we can widen that to give ourselves a little bit more clearance. Probably need still about 5 mil, maybe 6. But now we have this little patch that we can use as reference. For something that's a little more pressing, I left a big black smudge so that we knew what was going on. And certainly not by trying to see if I could force something to fit. Not me. So what's happening is, let's try to do this for you. As we're pushing up on it, it's starting to bind, where we're not able to push it up anymore. We're pretty free to move over here, right? That cut that we made gives us a lot of wiggle room. We're binding here, right here. Why are we binding here? Because the nut on the bottom, you can kind of see, hits that nut. So how do we fix that? Well, there's a couple ways. I'm thinking currently we try to make the hole a little bigger. The other solution outside of making the hole bigger is if we were to kind of cut, you know, from that mark point and make a giant slot on the bottom here, which isn't the worst idea in the world, but at the same time, we can also make the holes a little bigger, I think. I don't know if you noticed it from before, but I also took those rubber gaskets off because we're pushing it up so high onto the bumper. So there's potential those holes needed to get bigger anyway. So I'd like to try that first. I'm gonna make those holes a little bigger for the nuts. That way we can push it around the actual nut on there. And then at the end, if it turns out we need to make some extra clearance cuts, we can address that at that time. So I'll get to that and I'll show you guys the results later. I've got great news. The diffuser's on now. You can kind of see, but yep, cutting those holes a bit bigger to fit the nuts did the trick because the nuts are now sticking kind of through the bumper. In other news, this side is still peeping out. You can kind of see it's cutting here. If we just give ourselves like, if we just kind of widen that arc, right? Now, let me use my finger. If you take this and you just kind of draw it from that point. So yeah, let me get out the old Dremel. I'll cut those to be, well, what do you say? 5 mil wider. We'll try that and see if it works. So we cut a little more. I got it mounted up right now. So you can see I gave ourselves a little bit more material off, but we're still kind of touching. And you know, I should have thought about this, but what it actually looks like what's happening is we've got these hangers. You see you have to go through that hole on the diffuser. You know, those were the 10 mil nuts. What's actually happening is the whole diffuser kind of needs to do, if you will, like it pushed all the way up. And you can see it's popping the bumper quite a bit. I'm actually gonna have to just make a cut. You know, I was trying to get all fancy with it by like, ooh, follow the line, you know, like it'll be cool. But really what I'm gonna have to do probably is I'm just gonna take this line, you know, where I cut up, pull it out to like where the diffuser ends, and just cut like a section out. Maybe I'll curve it or something, I don't know. Maybe I can still be fancy with it yet, but it should work though. So I'm gonna do that real quick and I'll catch you guys back with an update. Hey guys, it's actually been a little while, probably like an hour. I've just been going back and forth with this cut that I've done on the bottom, you know, to clear the diffuser. As far as I'm concerned, we're in a spot where it's all right. The bumper will fit, and I don't know if this is really known, but I'm working in a box that is not where I live. I need to eat and use the bathroom real bad, so we're gonna leave it how it is for now. So I just wanna give you a quick wrap up. Here's where things kind of sit. So the one side here, you can see, it's just kind of rubbing at the top. This just kind of rubbing on the side, right? I'm doing my best to cut as little as possible. And then same thing over here, a little on the top, little on the side. So overall though, does not look too bad on the car. We are having some bumper deformities though, you can see on the side here. This side's popping out. I do have it buttoned a bit, but it's still kind of causing a gap there. And we got the same thing over here. Big gap over here. I think I need to get another plastic fastener there. You can see it's really got the gap in there. And this one here is still popping out. So I'm gonna get the car on the ground again. You know, I'm gonna fasten everything up, get the wheels on, get on the ground, and we'll call it a day. So I'll give you a shot of that once we're done. We got the car back on the ground with the wheels. If you ignore the small things that are kind of wrong, honestly, it doesn't look too bad. Like I said, with this side, I'm thinking maybe a new fastener thing. It wasn't fitting quite right, that plastic piece. The other side fit great when I replaced it, so maybe just a little thing. But otherwise, I mean, like I said, doesn't look too bad. Well, I'll have to measure that ride height for legal reasons. Like I said, I need to use the restroom. I need to actually go shopping too. I'm all out of food at home. So I'm gonna leave it how it is for now. Can I turn this down? I still gotta work on getting that fit properly. But now I feel like we're at that nitty gritty point where it's like material check, material check, material check. Next time, either more of this or we'll figure out exactly what else the car needs. Cool, then we'll see you guys in the next one.
Just to wrap up the video here, I did go back a couple days later to work on it a bit more. A few more cuts and a couple adjustments with fasteners, and I think I got it looking a lot better. The next step here is to do some road testing and actually see how it works, and we'll do more tweaking from that point on. And thank you so much for watching. If you have any suggestions or things you have questions on, feel free to comment about them and let me know. We'll see you guys on the next project for the car.